Hey everybody, Walter here. Thank you so much for your patience on this video. I've been promoting it for a while, but I'm just now having a chance to upload it. We're going to be comparing the Jumanji 1995 Robin Williams movie against the Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle movie starring The Rock, Kevin Hart, Jack Black, and Karen Gillan that just came out at the end of last year that's still in theaters and actually doing very, very well. So since that's a newer movie, let's talk about Welcome to the Jungle first. The Rock for a long time was building this up as a sequel across social media platforms, everything. A lot of people thought that this was going to be some kind of reboot or remake, but it wasn't. It was basically a sequel, but it was also rebooting the franchise. I'm not sure if they're going to be making more stuff after this or not. They don't really leave it open in the movie, but at the same time, I could see it making another movie off this because this is doing so well. I think it just surpassed Justice League or something at the box office, which isn't like a huge accomplishment because Justice League really underperformed, but still, this movie's still doing really well. I think it was number one this past weekend, even though it came out weeks ago. The sequel did a lot of things very different from the first movie, which I liked. I like how it separated itself from the 1995 Jumanji movie. I like the video game aspect of it. I thought that was a very cool and different look on things, how Jumanji basically adapts itself, and it's sort of a sentient being, sort of, and it changes with the times, and it changed into a video game, as you saw in the movie. When I first saw the trailer, and I saw it was going to be a video game, I was like, the trailer looks really good, but it doesn't have to be connected to Jumanji. And I'll even after seeing the movie, I can say that same thing. It probably wouldn't have been as successful as it is now because it has that Jumanji, brand on top of it. But I think that it could have worked as its own movie. The concept of being sucked into a video game and even the jungle theme, but I thought that aspect of it was really good. I enjoyed it a lot. I'm really happy that they didn't retread the same exact thing that they did in the first one, and it was very different and set itself apart, and I really appreciated it for that. This is just a lot of fun. I really liked it. I didn't get a chance to review it here on my channel, but overall, I'll say that I did really like Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. The Rock was great in it. The cast was fantastic. It's funnier and lighter than the original, while still having some semblance of a heart and a moral to it, which I really liked. The cast, is just fantastic. Jack Black is hilarious in this movie. He really pulled off the teenage girl being trapped in a grown man's body. I thought that was hilarious and just great. The Rock was playing up sort of the cartoony version of himself because he was playing this kid who didn't have a lot of confidence inside of The Rock's body, who was like this, huge dude. So it was really cool seeing these guys play against type. Kevin Hart was really funny. The Rock, they obviously have chemistry because they've been doing several movies together recently. Karen Gillan was very funny. I think those four together were great. Nick Jonas shows up in the movie towards about the middle, and he was passable. I thought he was fine. But those four main leads I thought had great chemistry together, and seeing them interact in that environment was really, really fun, and seeing them have to get past all these different obstacles by using, different aspects of their character's personality in the game. I thought it all worked great. So I thought the cast actually might be a little bit stronger overall. Not overall, I'm saying, not individual characters, but altogether, I thought the cast in this was more constantly entertaining and a little bit more fun to watch. Actually, a lot more fun to watch than the cast of the original movie. So that's one thing that it has over the first Jumanji movie. I could say that right away. There is a little bit of a call out to Alan Parrish. We kind of expected that, but Nick Jonas's character is in this treehouse that he's been living in for a long time. He doesn't know how much time has passed, and there's a little carving on one of the tree branches or something, and it says Alan Parrish was here. So that was a nice little call out. I knew that they were going to be doing something to give a little shout out to Robin Williams and the legacy of Jumanji's first movie, but that was nice to see, and it wasn't overdone at all. It wasn't like they played it up. That was the only thing that was referencing the original movie whatsoever. This really stands on its own besides that. So I thought that was really well done and not done in a way that was, living off nostalgia or anything. I will say that there's not much beneath the surface in it, but it did achieve what it set out to be. And I thought what it set out to be was just a family, fun, action jungle movie, and it really pulled that off well. I thought that everyone was funny. I thought the action scenes were very entertaining, and a lot of people like this movie. And it's funny, in an age where everyone is so split over the Star Wars movie that just came out, everyone for the most part can agree that they liked a Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle movie. I don't think anyone was expecting it to be quite as enjoyable as it was. So on that end of things, I'm happy that it did this well. and it's just a fun family action movie that a lot of people can see and get enjoyment out of. Sometimes we don't need the really, really deep stuff to have a good time at the movies, and this was done well without asking too much of its audience. I thought it turned out really well, and I'm glad that it's doing as well as it's doing. So Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle did a lot of things that a lot of people liked, but is it better than the original movie starring Robin Williams from 1995? Let's get into breaking down that film. Joe Johnston directed this movie. I don't know if you remember that name, but he directed Captain America: The First Avenger and The Rocketeer, which is another great 90s movie. There's just a better atmosphere in this first film. It's better crafted and it looks better with deeper themes and deeper scenes, or at least it attempts at being deeper anyway. I mean, it doesn't just try to make you laugh, which is basically 99.9% of Welcome to the Jungle, but I would say it's only about 75% of Jumanji tries to make you laugh or have fun, or maybe less than that. There are some serious things in there for sure, but it's successfully serious at points. The second one is really just a straight up comedy, where this one, like I said, tries to go a little bit deeper on things. The cast overall, I do think, is more enjoyable in Welcome to the Jungle, but you can't beat Robin Williams in the original. I still kind of tear up when I see this guy. I had that little improvised segment on the end of my top 10 best Robin Williams videos. That was a two-parter, and I still feel that way. It's still tough watching the movies that he's in. He was such a big part of the movies that I saw growing up, with this and Mrs. Doubtfire and Hook and all these other movies that he was in, and it's just tough knowing how things ended for him, seeing him in his prime and stuff. But regardless of that, he is fantastic in the original Jumanji movie. I mean, it's Robin Williams in his prime. It's Robin Williams in the mid-90s. Of course he's going to be great. The whole cast overall is pretty good. I mean, we got Kirsten Dunst in there. We got Bonnie Hunt. So David Alan Grier is playing Carl in this, and they're all funny, and they work off of Robin Williams and stuff, and they're good. They're good. They're a good cast, but I did enjoy Welcome to the Jungle's chemistry a little bit more. A lot of my memories of Jumanji are also tied into the cartoon that came out around the same time, so that was based off the characters from this movie, and that was just another thing that sort of expanded the universe a little bit and took a different take on the story, so it had that going for it as well. This first one is actually kind of scary at points for a kid's movie. Remember, my brother was really not into seeing this movie. Whenever I wanted to watch it, he was always scared of, I think, the spiders and all that stuff that came up, which as a kid, yeah, that's going to be a little bit scary to you, but Robin Williams was in it, and it all turned out well in the end, so I was always up for seeing this one. I was never too scared of it personally, but I mean, I could see why younger kids would be. There's some things that didn't age very well in this first film. The monkey CG is pretty bad. I mean, this is mid-90s CG. There's not much they can do about it. I think that they had to CG the lion a couple times, and that actually looks a lot better than the monkeys. The monkeys look freaking terrible. The animatronic lion also, I mean, while I appreciate that they actually had something on camera, it looks more like a Disney attraction than anything else. But, at least it wasn't all CG all the time, so points for that, although it was mid-90s, so they didn't really have much of a choice. James Horner did the music for this, which I actually really liked. The music is a big part of the movie that I enjoyed very much. Everything with Alan returning home is very emotional, and it's well done and shot and looks great. Nothing comes close to this in the new movie at all. The heart that Robin has when Alan comes back from the game, and it's 26 years later, and he sees that his house is owned by somebody else, his dad's shoe factory is closed down, his parents are dead. This is a huge thing that this movie does and dwells on, that the second movie, Welcome to the Jungle, has a little bit with Nick Jonas's character, but it's more of a quick scene than anything else. This is a huge part of the first act and part of the second act of this movie, where I really thought that it hit some really good emotional scenes, and with Robin Williams leading the charge on that, I think that it did really well. What I really like about it the most is that it really does have a big heart. At the end of the film, we see the reunion between Alan and his dad, and they go back to 1969, and they get to relive their lives as it should have been, which is pretty cool. I mean, like, even when I was a kid, I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. But at the same time, it's a nice poetic way of ending the movie. And then we see 26 years later, in the second time we're seeing 1995 in this movie, and we see Judy and Peter's parents being welcomed into Alan's house, which is owned by him and Sarah Whittle, who've been married at this point. And we see Peter and Judy as they were throughout most of the movie, but they have no memory of Alan or Sarah or anything that happened with the Jumanji game. That always kind of threw me off a little bit, but I mean, it turned out pretty well in the end. They sing a Christmas song and the movie ends. So Jumanji, I really enjoyed this first Jumanji movie. It still holds up mostly. I mean, there's things that don't hold up, like those monkeys and the CG and stuff, but mostly holds up all these years later. I really, really like it. And comparing it to the Welcome to the Jungle movie, I think that Jumanji 95 gets the win, Not by as much as I expected going into it, though. I thought Jumanji was not going to be as good as it was, the new one, but you know, The Rock really pulled something out there with the rest of the cast and everything that was different and set it apart, and I really respect it for that. So while I do think that the original Jumanji movie is still pretty much clearly better and it goes places that the new movie didn't even try to go to, they are comparable, and I do think that The Rock's attempt at making this movie really turned out well. So while I give the win to Jumanji 95, I would still encourage you to go check out Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle, which is still in theaters. So there it is, my comparison video. Jumanji 95 wins, but not by much, and I would suggest for you to go see Welcome to the Jungle. So I'll catch you on here next time, and thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you back here with a new video real soon.